to meet you. How are you? Fine. Happy to know.
So we are leaving tonight in
Okay.
an hour.
Okay.
Will you miss the class?
No worries.
Yeah.
Have
Thank you.
safe travels.
Thank you.
Mridang. You will play Mridang? Okay. Yeah. You can play harmonium, Mridang, anybody you think? Ha. राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदा ब्रज जन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Parivajakacharya Ashtottara Sat His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitansha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Deyam sada paribhavagnamabhishtadoham तीर्थास्पदं शिवविरञ्चिनुतं शरण्यं भृत्यार्थिहं प्रणतपालभवाब्धिपोतं वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दं हन्ताय मद्रिरबला हरिदासवर्य यद्रामकृष्णचरणस्पर्शप्रमोदः मानं तनोति सहगो गणयोस्तयोर्यत् पाणीयसूयवसकन्दरकन्दमूलैः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। हरे कृष्णा, जय श्री राधे। I'm very honored to be here amidst all of you. My obeisances unto the lotus feet of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada for giving us the gift of Krishna consciousness. My obeisances at the lotus feet of His Holiness Harivilas Maharaj for creating this wonderful oasis here in the Seattle and the greater Seattle area. My thanks and gratitude to Namavrata Prabhu and Damodar Prasad Prabhu for giving the opportunity, and to all of you. I seek all of your blessings that we can embark on this very important topic and an important hymn in Krishna consciousness. HYMN, hymns. And if we have to summarize, our whole Bhagavata journey is all about hymns and songs, isn't it? Ashtakams and Dashakams and whatnot. So I seek all of your blessings and prayers so that we can speak something for our purification, for all of your inspiration, and for the pleasure of our acharyas. It's commonly said in English, it's not what you know, but it's who you know which is important. Not what you know, but who you know. Because what we know lies in here. Generally, we may analyze it, we may break it, and in modern world, we deconstruct it, right? You've heard this word, deconstruction. And modern science, reductionism, we reduce it. But then, when the life throws the lemons and the papayas and the mangoes, whatever, those are good, but sometimes karelas and things like that, then what is happening here sometimes doesn't help us. But what we have held deeply in our heart defines ourselves in those situations, isn't it? The intellectual things which we may have caught up at that time breaks down. And that's why we say, not what you know is important, but who you know, because if whom we know carries that gravitas in their heart, that Krishna consciousness, that stability, and somehow we are into their orbit, and we have rubbed that little bit, and it has come into our heart, that makes all the difference. And that is why, in any tradition we go, whether it's even Abrahamic traditions, or the different traditions of our Sanatan Dharma, and you ask people, what makes you ticking or keeps going in Krishna consciousness, in Sri Vaishnavism, in Pushti Marg, maybe in Christianity, in Islam, whatever? I think one common verb, one common answer is the people around, those who have been practicing it with their heart. In short, the saints of those traditions. Now let's look at Sanatan Dharma. Let's go down south. Sri Vaishnavism, or the areas of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, like that. So Sri Vaishnava, we hear about what? Alvars, Ramanujacharya, and their Divya Prabandhams, the wonderful poems of Andal, like that. Then we come north. We have Karnataka, we hear about songs of Purandara Das, Kanaka Das, the writings of Vadiraj Tirtha, Vyasa Tirtha, like that. And then in Telugu, Andhra Pradesh, we have heard about what? Tyagarajan, right? Annamacharya, huh? Ramadas. And we used to go for book distribution, and then every Telugu home we'll knock, they'll say, Potana Bhagavatam. Right? So, saints of those tradition. Then you move this way to Gujarat, we hear of Narsi Mehta. Up north, Mere to Girdhar Gopal. Second line is more important. Dusro na koi. Mere to Girdhar Gopal aur sabhu bhi more. That doesn't work. Because it is said in Braj, Prem gati alti sankari jame bhayana do. The marg of the Prem Gali, the love path, is very thin. Two cannot come there. And if you have to vividly experience that, go to Vrindavan, go to Barsana. There is a place called Sakari Khor. Sakri means constricted. Khor means path. Sakri Khor is a path where Krishna would stop the gopis and sakhis when they will go to distribute the makhan and the butter, like that. Actually, they are not going to distribute makhan. They are very rich family. Vrishabhanu is a king of Parsana. But they just go so that the possibilities of intercepting whom is increased? Makhan Chor, Shri Krishna. So Shri Krishna would accost them in their path, and behind him would be his favorite confidant called Madhumangal. But they would stand like this, Krishna, then Madhumangal, then Radha, then Lalita. You cannot have two people. So try it out. Go to Sakri Khor. If you try it out, you may fall down from the path. Prem gati ati sakri jame bhayana do. That's why Srila Prabhupada would say Krishna consciousness and go ill together. At one time it cannot be. So, saints of different sampradaya. Then we move up north to Gujarat. We have Pushti Margiya Ashtachap. Krishna Das, Surdas, we have heard the name. And then when we move towards Bengal, and of course Vrindavan, Bengal and Vrindavan, they have like a tunnel. You go on one side, you enter into Vrindavan. You go on Vrindavan, you enter into Bengal. Even in spiritual world, it is said that Navadweep, which is called Shweta Dweep there, and Golok Vrindavan on side by side. So you're participating in Krishna Leela on one side, and at the same time, participating in which Leela of Gaurang Mahaprabhu? Sankirtan Leela. What Sankirtan happening? Golokera Prema Dhana Harinam Sankirtan. So it is coming from there. Which mantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So for us, who are those saints who are just like a living example of devotion, Krishna devotion? Many saints, but those who have kind of left a great impact on our lives, and we all attest to that, we sing about them, are 6 Goswamis. We can call them as the sons of Mahaprabhu. Now you'll say, how is that possible? Because Mahaprabhu, we don't hear about son of Mahaprabhu. Well, there is one line called the Bindu Vansha. Vansha means lineage. Bindu means one from biological Vamsha. Another is called Nad Vamsha. Nad Vamsha means through hearing. So all of us have kind of 2 Vamshas. One is our family line and one is our spiritual genealogy, where we have heard from the spiritual master. He has spoken some divine mantras here. That's also our birth. That's why we are also, in one sense, twice born. So, who can be better known as sons of Mahaprabhu than 6 Goswamis? Actually, in many traditions of Gaudiya, we hear about 8 Goswamis also. So first let's see what are those 6 Goswamis. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami. They were from Karnataka. You already have heard a big elaborate seminar by Sri Gauranga Prabhu. on 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So we will not be talking much about their history. But just a brief. They were in Karnataka, then they moved to Bengal. They were prime ministers and chief ministers. Some magic happened. You know, sometimes renunciation doesn't need a permission. Renunciation doesn't need a clear signal. It just comes, and just came for them, for them, advised by or guided by Mahaprabhu. They left Bengal and went to Vrindavan. Then we had Raghunath Das Goswami, who was the son of a great landlord, Hiranyan Govardhan Majumdar. He also left. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he was son of Tapan Mishra. Mahaprabhu told him and another Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, that take care of parents first. After that, we'll see. And then after taking of their parents, they went also to Vrindavan. Finally, who was left? Jiva Goswami. He was nephew of Rupa and Sanatan. He was left on his own. He had fond memories of his uncles. But then Nityanand Prabhu guided him. What did they do? Did they went to Vrindavan and only eat? No. Like one saint was saying, आजकल का मंत्र है वृंदावन जाओ और खाओ. क्या खाओ? A chakrabdi, kachori sabji, 2 kilometer, no, heavily thick viscous lassi, जो कि ऐसे करने पे भी नीचे नहीं, if you even pour down it will not fall. In what? Kullad, you know, the actually true. Harivilas Maharaj also says, right, our two most potent weapons are prasad and naam. And if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you'll be amazed. Itna khate hain? Do they eat so much? So many preparations are indicated there. Because in Upanishads also it's said, Anna is Brahma. Because that keeps us alive. And through this body only we can reach the permanent. This is temporary, but we can reach the permanent. So Anna is important. But what if that Anna is Krishna conscious and we eat in the proper awareness? But generally what happens? Vrindavan jao or khao. That same saint said, no, Vrindavan jao or gao. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So these 6 Goswami went there and they sang the glories. Just by their whims? No. Somebody guided them. Who guided them? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave them instructions. What were the instructions? Tumhi kariha bhakti shastrera prachar mathuraya lupta tirtha kariha udhar. You see all the different scriptures. You encapsulate it. What you see here, do you see these 4 beautiful posters here? I mean, these are really encapsulated, tacit and arranged knowledge. If you really look at very carefully, very amazing work done here. So Goswamis were also doing the same thing, capturing all the information, encapsulating it together so that it can be presented. And at the same time, what they were doing, excavating the holy places, because Vrindavan was lost. Now, in other traditions, we have 2 more Goswamis. Can you guess? They talk about Ashta Goswamis. Lokanath Goswami and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Some talk about Bhugarbh Goswami, but Ashta Goswamis are also famous. And their identities are also given. These Goswamis were just not like Tom, Dick and Harry who came, or Ramu, Shamu, Kamu, Lovi, jo bhi hai. They were special personalities. Who were they? Very intimate associates of Radha and Krishna, whom we call Manjaris, whose only aspiration, Manjaris are Sakhi associates of Krishna, particular category who are much closer towards Radharani, and their only service is service for service sake. They don't want any, you can say, enjoyment, if we can use that word. Only service. And that's why they are all they know all the pastimes of Radha Krishna, and hence they are quite befitting, isn't it, to come here and then elaborate all the secrets. So who are they? Rupa Goswami is actually Rupa Manjari. Sanatan Goswami is Lavanga Manjari. You have Loknath Goswami as Manjulali Manjari. Then you have Rasa Manjari and Rati Manjari. Rati Manjari is Raghunath Das Goswami. Something to keep in mind. Rasa Manjari is Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Jeev Goswami is Vilas Manjari. Guna Manjari is Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So when you go to Radharaman next time, in the end you will say Guna Manjari. So you can connect it. Okay, this is about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And then you have Kasturi Manjari. Who is he? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So there is this tradition. When you will read about Goswami text, this tradition of Ashta Goswamis also come. However, in our line, we have a very strong affinity and love towards 6 Goswamis. Now one would ask, is it like they were always going together? Like, hum hota hai na, judwa hai, tudwa hai, I don't know what you'll call to 6. All together. No, they would stay in different places, and then they will come to associate with each other. Just like different householders stay at different places and then they come together, isn't it? So when did this come? 6 word come. Actually, the first reference of this comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And you will know this line. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Echai Gurura. He doesn't use Goswamis. These are all our gurus. Which? Shiksha gurus. Echai Gurura Karo Charana Vandan Jaha Hoite Vigna Nash Abhishta Purana. All the vignas would be nashed and abhishta, your desires would be fulfilled. So still 6 Goswamis didn't come. It's 6 gurus. Then Narottam Das Thakur has it, 6 Goswamis. And we know the song, same thing. Echai Gosai Kore Charana Bandhan Choi Gosai Jaha Hoite Vigna Nash Abhishta Puran. So thanks to Narottam Das Thakur. And that song we sing, right? Which is that song? Harihara, isn't it? Bhagavat Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavat Gita. So in that song, first reference to Chai Gosai comes. And then later in the tradition, it is one of the stalwart practitioners come preachers who codified the glorification of these 6 Goswamis in this hymn. Sad-Goswami Astakam. The 8 hymns to the 6 Goswamis. Who is that personality? First book distributor, you can say, Srinivas Acharya. And how befitting it is that Srinivas Acharya is writing it, because right from the beginning of this life, he's been going here and there, suffering separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. He wanted to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but then he figured out as he reached Jagannath Puri that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has left his body. And he was crying, and somehow or the other he was sent to Gadadhar Pandit, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given the instruction to Rup Sanatan that you have to teach Srinivas Acharya in Bhakti scriptures, and Gadadhar Pandit that you should teach him Srimad Bhagavatam. Gadadhar Pandit was crying and saying that all the tears have washed this Bhagavatam copy which I have, including the tears of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you just go up north and get a new copy. Nowadays it's super easy, no? Earlier it was so tough. Now we have in Kindle and whatnot and in phone and things like that. But he went into his own bhav and he started meeting all the associates, and by the time he came, Gadadhar Pandit had left the body. Then they again came into his dream and said, now you should go to Vrindavan. So again he went through the path of Bengal. So the commentators write that twice he delayed things. He He started meeting with other devotees. Sometimes happens, right? Some seva is waiting. We start meeting with other devotees and oops, seva is left. But it is the Leela. So Acharyas are telling us double things. First, that you can approach some teacher only through the blessings of Vaishnavas. And they are also teaching us don't delay where there's some important action has to be taken. So finally, he goes to Vrindavan and there he takes initiation from Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Diksha Guru, and learns under Jiva Goswami. What a nice chemistry, Diksha and Shiksha. In fact, in our Sampradaya, Shiksha is very important. Because the way things are organized, we may not get enough time with our Diksha Gurus. If we are getting nothing like it. But then it is Srila Prabhupada who is appearing in the form of different of his moons, isn't it? And in fact, we can have the bhav that our Diksha Guru is speaking to us in the form of Shiksha Guru. In fact, it is the Chaitya Guru, the Guru in the heart called Paramatma, whom we do not hear, comes out as Ashraya Guru. That's our Diksha Guru. And the same personality also comes in the form of Shiksha Guru. So for us, 6 Goswamis and this Sad-Goswami Astakam written through the pen of Srinivasa Acharya can show us that we have very worthy Shiksha Gurus also. I mean, we have a whole plethora of Shiksha Gurus. So we are not left alone. This is what we will be doing in this class, this discussion and the next discussion about Sad-Goswami Astakam. Word by word, what does it mean? Some stories, some life histories, like that. Okay? So, Krishnot Kirtana Gana Nartana Parau Premamritam Bho Nidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priya Karau Nirmatsarau Pujitau Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharau Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavahantarakau Vande Rupa Sanatanau Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau Vande Rupa Sanatanau Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau कृष्ण उत्कीर्तन उत्कीर्तन उच्चाई उत्साह के साथ with enthusiasm loudly with what a feeling with very lively participation they would do, and they would gana, they would sing, nartana, they would also dance, parau, they were expert in this. Why they would do it? Just for show, for some likes? No, they had substance. Really, with substance? Premamritam bho nidhi. They were oceans of the wealth of amrit of love. What is there inside will come out. Since they are so absorbed in that, naturally they were busy in what? Nartana, Gana, Krishna Utkirtana. If it is not inside, it will not come out. And because of that, they were harmless. They had much worthy goal to aspire for. Why harmless? Because dhira dhira jana priya priya karau. Dhir and adhir both would like them and they would like both of them. Ruffians and the stable people, the gentlemen. It's hard, right? We can be nice to gentlemen, but then we make some statements or we have some prejudice or some ifs and buts about somebody who may not even be dressed well. But look at our Acharya. Srila Prabhupada was once walking, and then Indradumna Maharaj mentions about this story. Some very not so nicely dressed person, kind of a street bum, was going around, and then he was asking for food. Not food. Food. You can't even say it properly. And totally ganda, all not dirty and not dressed nicely. And other disciples were saying, okay, ho gaya. You've taken enough association. But every time he would just come to Prabhupada. But Prabhupada would not shoo him away. He would say, come my boy, come my boy. Like that. He gave love and affection, prasad. Because dhira dhira jana priya. Not only that, priya karao. It's not passive, it's active. Karuna, compassion is active. We do something about it. It's not just in the heart. Otherwise it's passive, right? So, priya karao, Prabhupada would give him food and associate things like that. And lo and behold, whom did he become? Any guesses? Later on. It looks like I haven't told this story here, because sometimes, the story is told around, which story was told where. Kushakratha Prabhu, the translator par excellence of Bengali and Sanskrit literature. So many of us have his books. Where was he? What did he become? Just because somebody was so kind-hearted and Priya Karau, he didn't shoo him away. So the efforts which we are seeing here, kind of very inclusive, it's kind of a nice spirit. Dhira dhira janak karau, priya karau. Why? Nirmatsarau pujitau. Nirmatsar, no matsar. Matsar we discuss. Mattaha sarpati. The tendency to feel, Are, he is slipping ahead of me. Matsarya. They don't have matsarya. Why? Because they're full inside. Sari Bhumi Gopal ki. Too many things are to do. Why to have competition? Why to have spardha? Spardha in the wrong sense, that somebody else would go ahead of me. No. In fact, it is said that if somebody is really going ahead and we feel like that, we encourage and appreciate them, we may be pushed also. That's how the spiritual appreciation thing works. And that is the reason they are pujitao. Those who are really worthy of worship are those who have this inclusive mentality. Why? Because they see Paramatma in everybody's heart. They were seeing Nirmatsarao Pujitao, and hence they were Pujitao. This compassion was not only skin deep. The compassion which Rupa and Sanatana Goswami showed was not skin deep. Why? Because Sri Chaitanya Kripa Bharau, they are carrying the weight of Sri Chaitanya's Kripa. Prabhupada would say, share this anxiety. Krishna is having an headache, share this sort of headache of Krishna. Sometimes you'd say, Prabhu, bhajan, seva, samajh mein nahi aa raha hai, what to do, how much to do bhajan, seva. Certainly we have to balance, because they are also doing premamritambo nidhi. Then they are able to do Sri Chaitanya Kripa Bharau. Morning program, our own sadhana, the way we can orchestrate our lives to fill ourselves. Then we'll really genuinely feel the weight of that this Chaitanya Kripa must be shared, because we have benefited. Then it will be a bullet with gunpowder, a gunpowder of compassion which can penetrate. Otherwise it would be a blank bullet, an air bullet. Maybe it will create a little itching, that's it. And on where they are carrying the weight? On the earth. To do what? Bhuvaha bharavahantarakau. Bhar hantarakau. To reduce the burden. We see examples of dhira dhira in the lives of Rupa Goswami. Somebody came, I want to defeat you. Oh, I'll have signature. No competition. Sanatana Goswami Raghunath Das Goswami, he was captured. Why? Because his uncles had confiscated, or there was some mismanagement of some money. They left, he was captured. And what happened? This old Muslim jailer was just melted by this harmless person. Very harmless person. And it is vividly described that he's crying so that his beard is wet by tears. Very vivid description. Harmless. Actually, we can try to be harmless as much as possible in actions, words, and thoughts. And then let's see the world. The world will really become very beautiful. Because no competition. Sari Bhumi Gopal ki. Such are the Goswamis. Hence, we bow down. One day, whom? Rupa Sanatanau Raghu Yugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau. This mercy comes in a very, very interesting way. Sometimes we do not know how we find our Shiksha Gurus, how we find our Gurus. Sometimes it's very magical. These Gurus, like 6 Goswamis, are so compassionate. Sometimes they hide themselves, like the Rupa and Sanatan were hiding themselves under some trees and in kunjas. But then they were also making themselves available in the form of their books. So there's one story about Ronald Nixon, not the Nixon of United States, but some Ronald Nixon in England who graduated from Cambridge University. He was born in 1598. He wanted to do literature, but he got into some situations happened. There was a war between England and Germany, not 1598, sorry, 1898. And there was a war between England and Germany, and he found himself in Royal Air Force. So the fighter planes are attacking each other, and all the fighter planes are gunned down. Only his is remaining. He was about to be shot. But then mysterious thing happened. Somebody just pulled the aircraft, the jet plane, up into the clouds. He wakes up unconscious in a ear. If you want to know what's that spiritual supernatural power which took you to up the clouds, go to India. If you want to know. This is crazy. Interestingly, Gyanendranath Chakrabarti, who at that time was the Vice Chancellor, I think, of Lucknow University, was visiting England. He said, strange chap from Royal Air Force wants to go into India to learn about philosophy. Very strange. But he has good English, and I need an English lecturer in my college. So let me hire him. So there enters Ronald Nixon in Lucknow University, teaching English. And then these 3 characters start interacting with each other. Gyanendranath Chakrabarti, his wife Monica Devi, and this person, Ronald Nixon. They became so closely knit together that this couple becomes the family for Ronald Nixon. Monica Devi would call him Gopal, and he would call her Ma. But she was very strange, very strange. At that time, India was quite westernized because, the Britishers have come into Kolkata and Lucknow, and, societal parties would happen. So in the parties, she would appear like a modern woman, cracking jokes and getting the people go here and there. But every now and then, she would disappear. Ye kya hua? What happened? Then she will come back again and start cracking jokes. So this thing was very strange and unnerving to our Ronald Nixon. One day when she disappeared, he went and looked what's going on. And behind the closed doors, she was into meditation. She was in tears of separation and chanting. When she came out, he clasped her lotus feet and said, Ma, you have to give me the secret and the greatest wealth you have been hiding from your son. You have given much wealth, but not this wealth. She said, okay, all right. I'll share with you since you have found out. She shared with him her spiritual practice of worshipping Krishna and the love for which dham? Sri Vrindavan dham. Lo and behold, they became close, they shared their upasana, and one fine day, our Ronald Nixon comes to Monica Devi and says, Ma, I have a desire. Yes, what? I want to take sannyas. Oh, good. From whom? From you. What? Me? I'm a woman, I'm a householder, how can I? No, nothing doing. I want to take sannyas from you. Acha. So, which means I have to take sannyas first. So first she goes to Radharaman temple. She takes sannyas from a Goswami there, I think Balkrishna Das Goswami. She becomes Yashoda Ma. And Ronald Nixon then takes sannyas from her. He becomes Krishna Prem. And he is the first Westerner Gaudiya in Vrindavan, 1931. They both established Uttara Vrindavan. If you know about Almora, 10 miles near Almora, there is a place called Mitrol, and there is Uttar Vrindavan. Crazy thing, right? You won't imagine. But if we see in our lives also, somehow the gurus have come in that way. So Goswamis were hiding and doing their own bhajan and direct devotional service, which we call hearing and chanting, but at the same time, they were making themselves available also by writing these books. And lo and behold, today, after 500 years, we see their presence in the form of these books. Why? Because they were nirmatsarao. There is no matsar, no matsarya. And in this way, they carried forward the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you have to, since you are at one place, you're not going anywhere, so read many, many scriptures and encapsulate the basic fundamental teachings which will be of benefit to deep practitioners and also to those who are coming new to devotional service. Like we see NOI, Nectar of Instruction. Shri Srinila Madhav Bhagwan ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Sudarshan ki jai, Ram Darbar ki jai, Lakshmi Narsimdev Bhagwan ki jai. Study many, many scriptures so that you can churn out the essence. Essence for newcomers like Upadeshamrita. Where does it start from? Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodvegam. Vacho Vegam, right? From the tongue, because that's where the damage happens. We speak too much sometimes and do the, hurt others, and we do gup instead of doing jap. So, it begins with the very basic instruction, Vachovegam. This is the quintessential contribution of Goswamis as it is encapsulated in the second verse. Nana Shastra Vicharanai Karnipurnau Shadharma Samsthapakau Lokanam Hitkarinau Tribhuvane Manyau Sharanyakarau Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nande Namattalikau Vande Rupa Sanatanau Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau Vande Rupa Sanatanau Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau. Nana, not the Nana Nani wala, Nana. Many, many. Nana, Shastra. Vichar means contemplation. First we read, then we study, then we contemplate, then we relish. We all pass through this stage. First we study. Kitna aaya, we don't know. Atka, we don't know. Then we study. Then we start contemplating. And finally that relish comes, where one word or one stanza we are chewing, like the cow who is ruminating. Nana Shastra Vichara Naika Nipuno. Eka Nipuno. Ek is used when it means the article the. They are expert in this vichar. It is written about Jiva Goswami. Hasta malakavat tattvam Srimad Bhagavatasya darshaya masa jivebhyas Tam Shri Jiva Prabhum Numaha. Tam Shri Jivam, that Jiva Goswami I offer my obeisances, who is Darshayamasa, he has shown to Jiva, all the living entities, what? The Tattvam of Bhagavatam. How? Hasta Malakavat. Hasta in the hands, like you have the gooseberry, which is Amalaki, like it's just there. I mean, we can turn it around and see where are the lines and things like that. We can just see it. Hasta Malakavat Tattvam. He knows it in and out. They can quote from here and there. Like that, they know the Shastras. Excuse me. I'm coming from a no voice to some voice. So, some dryness is there. Please forgive me. Hasta Malakavat Tattvam Srimad Bhagavatasya Darshayamasa Jivebhyas Tam Shri Jiva Prabhum Namaha. And Vicharneka Nipuno, why do they do that? Just for fun? Sadharma Sanstapakau. They want to establish Shad Dharma, Sad Dharma. Sanatan Dharma, but Satam Dharma also. The Dharma of the devotees. How devotees have to conduct, how they can love Krishna. So Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they are very expert in sprinkling tattva with leelas also. So that we know what we have to do and not to do, but we start developing feelings of attraction towards Radha and Krishna as well. They do this Sad Dharma Sanstapako for what? Loka Nam Hitikarinam. For the Loka, they want to do Hitkar. Hit. Hit means prem also. In Braj, many places you will see that Hit Tattva. That means Prema Tattva. So Hit means welfare, but what is the biggest welfare? Krishna Prema. Actually, we are all separated from Krishna. And that pain is there. But that pain is hidden underneath the many, many layers. So oftentimes we have to take painkillers. Right? We end up taking several painkillers. However, when Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Sixth Goswami tell us that the real hita is in turning towards Krishna. It's not an overnight journey. We might have to take some painkiller, but then painkiller is not the end all and be all. Krishna also indicates that yukta ahara viharasya. Keep it balanced so that slowly and slowly we start feeling where we are missing, isn't it? And then Tribhuvane Manyao, your name, right? Manya means respectable. So Manya means respectable. Manyao, those who are respectable. And they are respectable because they are showing the real hita. Hita, the prema tattva, connection with Sri Krishna. That's where they want to make the most dent. Try whatever you can, but unless the relationship with Krishna is established, as they say, we may be barking up the wrong tree. Have you heard about that? Many trees are there. The squirrel runs up one tree. The dog is barking up the wrong other tree. And then you tell dog, please bark on the other tree because you're barking up the wrong tree. So similarly, we may be barking up the wrong tree. And hence, they are Sharanyakarau. They are worthy to take shelter. Because they won't delude us further than already we are deluded. How can they do it? This, please observe in this Sad-Goswami Astakam, every verse they will talk about balance of preaching and bhajan. Or we can say, well, everything is bhajan and everything is also preaching. In one sense, everything is Vaishnav Guru Seva. Guru has told us, chant your rounds, attend the morning program, read Bhagavatam, do association of devotees, and in our Saraswat line it is also told, share what you have found, isn't it? So it's all one package. But for simplicity, if you have to separate it out, then one filling up and another overflow. In every verse we'll find it. What did we find earlier? Premamritam nidhi. In this verse, what we find? Radha Krishna Padarvinda Bhajananandena. By the Anand of the devotional service of Bhajan, Shravan Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Dasyam, Archanam, Atmanevedanam, Sakhyam, Ityadi. Of what? Aravind, Padarvindam, lotus feet. Of whom? Radha and Krishna. Mattalikau, they are mad. They're a little mad thinking about it. And only Radha Krishna? No, they have a special corner for some other personality in their hearts too. And that personality kind of is one and the same with Radha Krishna. He's Radha Krishna, nahi anya. Who is he? Gauranga. That's why Shri Gauranga Gunanu Varnana Vidhau Shraddha Samriddhyan Vitau Papo Tapa Nikrintanau Tanubhrita Govinda Ganamritai Anandam Buddhivardhanai Karnipunau Kaivalya Sanstapakau Vande Rupa Sanatanau Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau Vande Rupa Sanatanau Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau Gauranga Gunanun Varnana Vidhau. They are also very kind of anvitau. Anvitau means yukt, with. With what? The samriddhi. Samriddhi is wealth of Shraddha, not Tark. Shraddha means that faith, Vishuddha Sattviki Shraddha, which comes as a gift. Shraddha Samriddhyan Vitau, in what? Vidhau, of the ways of doing Varnana, description of guna, qualities of Sri Gauranga. Both Sri Gauranga and Radha Krishna. So Gaurang Mahaprabhu is sitting near the Ganga with his associates. Who are his associates? Advaita Acharya, Nityanand Prabhu, Srivas Thakur, and we can go in a list. Ramai, Nandai. Who else? Gadadhar Pandit, Sarup Damodar, ityadi, ityadi. And suddenly Mahaprabhu gets into the mood of Krishna returning from the forest. So they start their kirtan. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. They go in one direction, then oops, where did we go? Then somebody, no, that was the wrong direction. Jai Shri Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai, Neela Madhav Bhagwan ki jai, Lakshmi Narsinde Bhagwan ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai Sudarshan ji ki jai, Shri Ram Darbar ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Are kahan chale gaye? Where did you go? Turn, turn, turn. So then they will turn again, take a detour. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Big detour again. Then usko घुमा के लेके आना पड़ता था because they are mat. Mat in which bhav? Vrindavan bhav. That's why our Acharya said that the safest way of approaching Vrindavan is to Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Sometimes devotees ask also, when we have to read the Leelas, what should we do? Our Acharyas also suggest that first enter through Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, because it's the pastimes of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. We can meditate on Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Goswamis and think how they will meditate on Radha Krishna's pastimes. So they are doing their detour. Finally they reach whose house? Advaita Acharya's house. And then people are waiting and there is a home deity and they say, which deity? What's the deity of Advaita Acharya? Madana Gopal ki jai. Okay, puja happened, prasad happened, then they start for some other devotee's house. Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah. Reach Nityanand Mahaprabhu's house. What are deities of Nityanand Prabhu? Bake Bihari Lal Ki Jai. That's true. Bake Bihari. So now from Bake Bihari they worship, they take prasadam, everything, they go for other devotees' house. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srivas Thakur's house. You know the deities? Lakshmi Narasimha Dev. So Lakshmi Narasimha Dev Bhagwan ki jai. Finally Shachi Mata catches them. Now too much roaming around is happening. Now you sit. So exactly like cowherd boys, they sit down and take prasadam. Gauranga Gunanu Varnana Vidhau. Similarly, what's happening in Goloka? Krishna is having multiple consoles to take care. Sometimes happening, right? We have one console, second console, third console, multiple duties. One is that he has to handle Madhumangal. Because Madhumangal has just gotten a nice booty. You know the booty? When Brahmanas are given dakshina, it's a lot of booty. You know, dakshina kitti milegi, that's the thing. And Madhumangal has gotten like maybe few rings and some nice Manohar laddus, which is his favorite. A big chunk of Manohar laddus and the mudrikas all tied up in the feta. So that's the natural pocket of Gopas. So all are tied up here and he doesn't want to share. Why? Because he's a bit transcendentally lobhi, greedy. But a tattva is shown here. These are the leelas which not only talk about sweetness but also sprinkle some tattva or some learning. A lobhi person will see other person also as lobhi. A kami will see other person as kami. Hence a harmless person will see other person as harmless. Literally harmless. So, if you are going to Vrindavan, be harmless in front of monkeys. Just give them tender, loving neglect. Because the moment you see them and they see there is a fear, then what they will think? He has fear, hence he will attack. Hence I must do some attack. So then you'll see random attacks happening. But why? That person gave a little bit more bhav. He could have been little harmless. Your Paramatma is in your heart, is in my heart also. Tender, loving neglect. Harmless person will see other harmless person. Other person as harmless. And that's why sometimes you've seen saints, old saints which we talk about, they are sitting in a kutir and the gilleri is walking and monkeys are coming and eating something, and sometimes snakes also coming. Sometimes we hear of saints in Rishikesh Gufa and they are sleeping and some scorpions are also sleeping and some... Why is that? Harmless. A harmless person will see other person also as harmless. So similarly, Madhumangal was lobhi. Now this is little bit transcendental. He was seeing other persons as lobhi. So they are asking him, please share something. He said, no, you are greedy people. You will take everything. So now who can control the Gopas? So they did what they called Ghera bana liya. They made a mandala around him. Somebody, that's why sannyasi dhoti is nice. You cannot tuck out things, right? So he had this dhoti in which we tuck in. So somebody removed that tuck. And now he is holding it. We all have the experience that when we are in Jagannath Yatrata and by some good fortune or misfortune, the what we tuck in comes out. Then we are finding a place to tuck it in. So it was happening in Madhumangal. Somebody took his peta and removed it also. So out came what? All the mudariyas, the mudrikas and the food, the Manohar laddus. He cursed them. You will also not be happy. Well, these are transcendental things. Finally, he came to Krishna. Krishna pacified him. But this was just one console. In other console, he's thinking about whom? Cows. This is the time of Godhuli. You know the Godhuli time, it's considered to be very auspicious. Because before the cows come, you see what? The dust. And Krishna has a unique way of calling the cows. It's like one melody of the flute, but then it will be personalized. And it enters into the ears of different cows. And if there are some naughty cows who don't want to come, then Krishna will make sure he goes in person and catches their ears and brings them back. So here we go. Finally he has called. And this news is being broadcasted to by whom to whom? Some of the Sakhis are telling Radharani, it's the time that Krishna will be coming from the forest bringing the cows. So everything is different. Devotees are thinking about Krishna in different ways. The cows are thinking when we're going to go back. Mothers and parents, Nanda and Yashoda in Vrindavan are thinking that when Krishna would come back. Radharani is thinking when they will see Krishna. And Krishna is making sure that timings are perfect so that he satisfies everyone. So finally, first they see the dust. And Radharani is saying, what is this saffron particle? This is increasing my longing. And finally the dust settles and you hear the flute sound. So some of the friends take Radharani to a meeting place, and then Krishna makes a bahana. Balram slips out and Krishna makes a bahana. Oh, I have some KNOTTY cows or naughty cows, like naughty problems we have, so naughty cows remaining there. So he goes up there. But the time is short. So they should have some conversation, but no conversation is happening because anxiety. This is also tattva here. Sometimes we are spellbound when we come in front of deities. What to pray? There are no words. And after we come out of darshan, he said, I didn't say anything, I didn't ask anything, I didn't pray anything. Does it happen? But that's okay. We are just mesmerized or basking in the sweetness of the presence of Sri Krishna. So it's okay. That's also a feeling, isn't it? So, but they have to rush. So Subal takes Krishna and Lalita takes Radharani. Union happened, quickly separation. That's a way of our Krishna consciousness also. Sometimes we feel too much, I'm floating in the clouds of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes it feels Krishna appears to be quite far. But as long as we are doing our sadhana and seva properly, these are just orchestrated by Krishna to have the churning, go deeper and deeper. The Leelas are also showing. They were separated, isn't it? She was herding the cows. Nanda Baba and Yashoda Maiya are where? In their own Goshtha. Radharani is in Yavat or Barsana, depends. Yavat is the Sasural and Barsana is the, Maika. So she goes there and comes back, just like we go there. So wherever she is, separation is there, but then union, then separation again. So this is also sometimes how our life goes. And we will hear this also in the last verses of Sad-Goswami Astakam. That while here Radha Krishna Padara Vinda Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko, in the end what they are singing? He Radhe Vraja Devi Ke Chale. So you say, what's going on? Like once, it happens both ways. So Shri Gaurang Gunanu Varnana Vidhau Shraddha Samriddhyan Vitau Papo Tapa Nikrintanau Tanubhritam. Tanubhritam means those who have body. Only us? No, trees also. Living beings also. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking Haridas Thakur, how should we chant? He said loudly, so even the trees and the other creatures can hear. I think it's Indra Prabhu who was telling about how he first came to Krishna consciousness. He entered into a temple, and then there was this Mataji, she was feeding some crumbs to, the squirrels would come on the window was on the ground level of the road, and the squirrels will come and she would feed and say, you little jivas, have some prasadam, like that. So treating the animals also. Prabhupada, I think it was he who shed tears seeing that how dogs were licking the prasadam plates in one of the temples. I think it was Mayapur. So tanu bhritam. And what? Papo tapa nikrintanao. Now you'll say, wait a minute. Sometimes we see even pure devotees and all. They are also having some tapa, means some kashta, means some struggle. And it bewilders us. If they are going through, how can they deliver us? Isn't that a question? But actually, pure devotees are like the nerve endings of Krishna. Krishna is happy in his loka. He doesn't, in one sense, feel what it feels to go through pain. But devotees, they come into the world, material world, the pure devotees, and they sort of are interacting with the world. And sometimes they take on the troubles so as to kind of give the nerve signal to Krishna. Oh, it's too much out there. Samsara dava nalalidha lokat tranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam. Isn't it? So they are nerve endings, Sanatana Goswami says. And sometimes they just go through these troubles to keep bhakti very confidential. So that it appears like a normal process. Everybody is going through. But they don't feel any pain. They may be going through some situations, the pain may not be there. At the same time, through this normal process, very ground to earth, where the magic is more about heart's transformation than some external. Like in one country, they believe that the premier or the president of the country doesn't use restroom. That's too much, I would want the head of the country to please use the restroom. But bhakti is not about the only high in the hair sort of phenomena. It's very much grounded, practical. Prabhupada was asked, what's the magic you have done? He said, this is the magic. Those who were indulged in many activities, now they are doing bhakti. So sometimes we see pure devotees going through the issues and troubles. It's also to keep bhakti very confidential. But what they say, what they show, and if we follow them, that will deliver us from papo tapa. Which type of papa? Aprarabdham phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukham. Whether it is a pap which we'll not see, or whether it will be reaction which we might see now or in next life, or the inclination, or the avidya itself. All of them are kramena, they are uprooted by such lives and teachings of these Goswamis. Papo tap nikrintano tanubhritam Govinda ganamritaihi. The weapon they are using is Govinda gan. No other thing. The stories of Krishna, the leelas of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna. Prabhupada will say, right, this Krishna book is not about just like small kiddo story of, some childlike story, childish stories. No, this is Govinda Gana Amritaihi. Through them they do. And in this process, they are able to give us some free samples of bliss also. Anandam buddhi vardhanaika nipunau. We are hearing the different pastimes of Krishna, how they churn our heart, isn't it? And Krishna has returned from the forest. He is now waiting. He wants to meet Radharani and other of his friends, but then he has to also take care of he took care of the cow's console, he took care of the Madhumangal console, he took care of the little bit Radharani console. Now he has to take care of Yashoda and Nanda. And Yashoda and Nanda are all very much anxious. Yashoda comes, first gives her a bath from tears. Then somebody comes dusting, like we have seen, if mothers are cooking, they'll come apron pe. So somebody comes dusting. Who? Rohini. Oh, mero lalo aa gayo. My Lala has come. So she also bathes Krishna. Of course, Balram is also there. And Krishna does what? He quickly goes to, he says, yeah, I'll take something. He eats little snack. He goes to Goshala again. to make sure that cows are tied properly. And who is waiting in the Goshala? On a, like a Punjabi cart. Nice cart. Cart? The crisscross woolen, the ropes. Who is sitting? Nanda Baba. And Krishna goes and he's making sure, but Nanda Baba is saying, Avita, why did you come so early? You are supposed to eat. So they're all pushing Krishna. Okay, we'll take care. You just come after some time. He's making sure everybody is tied properly. And finally his friend calls it. Who? Petu. The Petu Bhakta, Madhumangal. Kanha, tumhe to bhuk nahi lagti, but we are hungry. Can you please come? And like that they go and have a nice meal. This happens during the evening time. That is called aparanna. Aparanna means after the sun, the peak sun has gone, that time. And they have a nice meal. And then Krishna finally again goes back to the Goshala. And there, he has to devise ways to now meet Radharani. Now I'll say, wait a minute, this Goshala is in Nandagram. She's in Yavat. Is there some tunnel out there? There is no tunnel, but Vrindavan is Chinmay. Chinmay means it's a lotus flower. It opens, it closes. When it closes, the Yavat could be like Palomino community, Nandagram and Palomino. When it opens, it could be like Nandagram and Woodbridge. Or Bellevue, whatever you may want to call. So the lotus closes. Hence Krishna, after milking the cows, he's milking the cows, and Sakhas and Sakhis are observing the beauty of Krishna. That he's Sham Varn and little drops of milk are on his limbs. And it is described by Kavi Karnapur how he's sitting. We have many Goshala experts here, so you would all recognize that Krishna is bending on his front toes, bending, and he's holding his bucket in between his knees. He's balancing it, and then he's milking. And once in a while, he's turning the milk towards the side of some gopas or towards Sakhis. Finally, when they are about to go for the evening pastimes, Krishna says, I have some important business. He always has some important business. And then he rushes towards the terrace, where the Sakhas and Sakhis are there. Radharani Krishna meet and they do the evening arti. The same arti happens in Gaurang Mahaprabhu's time, Gaurang pastime also. Ki bajayo jayo Gaura chande arati ko shobha. So that arati ko shobha is also happening in Radha Krishna's pastimes. It is happening in Gauranga Mahaprabhu's pastime. Just that who are the associates there? Gadadhar Pandit, Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur. And here who are the associates? Madhumangal, Sridama, Subala, Lalita, Vishakha. So both Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajananandena Mattalikau and Sri Gauranga Gunanu Varnana Vidhau Shraddha Samriddhyan Vitau. So through these pastimes, who has revealed these pastimes? What I am speaking is revealed by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Kavi Karnapur and Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Ityadi. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanaika Nipuno and Kaivalya Nistarakau. What's the point of Kaivalya? Kaivalya means merging. How can you serve when you can merge? Right? In fact, devotees are very, very afraid when they come across some merger. I didn't mean that, but I think that's also true, right? You don't know whether the work will increase or something will happen. But even spiritually, merger devotees are very, not very happy. We hear story of Gopakumar when he reaches Mahakalpur. Mahakalpur is the Brahma Jyoti. So he's like the Chaka Chand light. And he's really thinking, verses are quoted there. He's thinking, oh, it appears like I'll merge. I don't want to merge. Where is Madan Gopal? And this is because of his nishtha that he is able to find the source of that light. And that's Mahavishnu. One form of Mahavishnu, Mahakal. So, ye yatha mam prapadyante. For those who want to merge, they will see only light. And even if the devotees go where there is only light, they'll find out what's the source of the light. And they'll start telling him, I think you are Madan Gopal, right? This is what Gopakumar acted in that way. Kaivalya Nistarakau. And to do all this, they did something crazy. Tyaktva turnam shesha mandalapati shrenim sada tuchhava bhutvadi ganesha kau karunaya kaupina kanthashritau Gopi bhavarsamritabdi lahari kallola magnau muhu Vande rupa sanatanau raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalakau Tyaktva, they left Turnam Bilkul, अच्छी तरह. What? Ashesha Mandalapati. Mandala means circle of influence. Different people have different mandalas. Some people have 2 people. Some have 3. Some have 150. If you're Prime Minister, much more. But Ashesha Mandalapati, they had a huge mandala. Pati, they were the leaders, right? Prime Minister, Chief Minister. They give it up all for all time to come, like Tuchhavat. It is said about Jada Bharat also. Juho Yuvaiva Malavat Uttama Shloka Lalasa. He gave up whatever he had to give up after doing his duties as Malavat. But did they fuss about it? No. What did they do? Bhutva dina Ganesha kau karunaya. They were humble about it. And Kopina Kantha Ashritau. These are the symbols of giving it up. Kantha Ashritau. The kantha is like a torn, gudadi kehte hain, we call it gudadi. It is more, India, you know that Rafu and Rangai, we have heard about that, right? Cloth phat jata hai, fir uspe patch lagate the. Sometimes it's only patches, not much of cloth. So kantha is like that. So kantha shritau, they took shelter of kantha. It's also considered a symbol of humility. There are various ways of wearing the uttariyas also. Some like this, some like that, some like that, whatever, right? Each actually there is a symbolism. So Kanthashrita means like this as a symbol of Deenata. In fact, this is a tradition for one who has to beg forgiveness. Kantha, take, Trina in the Danta and beg forgiveness. This is what is indicated in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. That if somebody is sweeping the street and is in a very miserly condition, and you ask him, what's your situation? He or she says, well, I'm a street sweeper. That's not dainya. That's satya. That's honesty. That's not dainya. That's not deen. Deenata, what we are speaking about. So what is dainya? Yena sadharana shakta dhamma buddhi sadatmani. Yena, by which, by the quality by which, although one is endowed with asadharana shakti. Asadharana shakti means extraordinary opulence. Still, sadatmani adhamma buddhi. I am very low. How? Asadharan roop se. Utterly low. Although endowed with all excellence, Rupa and Sanatan Goswami were endowed with all excellence, yet they were thinking themselves to be really low. What they were saying, that even Jaga in Madhai, they use the word worms in stool, which is like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami used that. And Rupa and Sanatan Goswami said that they are even worse than Jagai and Madhai. How can they say that? They are genuinely feeling it. Sarvot karshan vitepi syad buddhais tad dainyam uchyate. Sarva utkarsh. Utkarsh means opulence. They have sarva utkarsh. Still, asadharana, in a very utter way, they think themselves to be low. Now, is it like self-deprecation or it's inferiority complex? No. The view of Radha Krishna, the glories of them are so prominent that less is left to think about oneself. And this is the key to reach prema. Yaya vache haya dainyam matya cha stairyam ityetat. Whatever one can do to situate oneself in actions, words and thoughts also, in this kind of cultivable humility. One humility is gift, but one is cultivable humility, in which we can increase the presence of Krishna in our lives and we can think less about ourselves because Krishna has become quite prominent. Then I think this capability can come tyaktva turnam ashesha mandalapati. But does that mean we have to leave everything? No. Vairag is a very interesting word. It has been glossed very amazingly by our acharyas. It's yukta vairagya or appropriate renunciation. We have heard that song of Mirabai, Jin bhesa mero savaro rije. In the bhesha means the dress, my savra will be pleased. So hi bhesh dharungi. That bhesh I will wear it. Whether it is kusumala sari or it's bhagava vesh. That is yukta vairagya. Today we'll stop at this. Yukta vairagya, we'll elaborate on it much more. And the next of the 4 verses which now take us from union to the mood of separation. Hare Krishna. So, do we take questions? We'll take questions today. Yeah. Yes, Hare Krishna. Hmm. Hmm. Huh. Hmm. Well, I don't know what acharyas talk about the Kaivalyanath. One simple meaning is that even the mukti is awarded by Krishna only. Actually, Brihad Bhagavatamrit says that Brahmaji says, because Narad Muni is coming to Brahmaji, you are the best, you got the mercy, you got the mercy. He said, no, I didn't get the mercy. Go to Shivji. Why? Because Shivji and Shivaji, not the Shivaji of Maharashtra, but Shivji and Shiva. Who is Shiva? Parvati. Both can give mukti. And by whom? Who has given them the power? Krishna. Krishna has given the power to award mukti, so they can give the mukti. Actually, that's true. The Shiva Loka, which is Sadashiva Loka, lies beyond Brahmajyoti. And there, if some Shiva Bhakta goes, they don't come back. So, Shaivites, aisa nahi hai ki matlab kuch altu faltu. No. In fact, the Shaivites who worship Hari and Har to be the same, Brihad Bhagavatamrit says, those who consider abhinnata between Shiv and Vishnu, they go to Sadashiv Loka. And they worship Shiva, understanding that Shiva is non-different than Krishna. They go to Sadashiv Loka. They don't come back again. So who gave them the power to cross the Lord Shiva? From whose strength? Krishna. And if there they hear the Madhumangal Leela or maybe some they get attracted, then Shivaji inspires them to go to Krishna Dham. So Kaivalyanath, yes, he is the Kaivalyanath. That's one meaning. Second is Mahakalpura, which we talked about, the region of Brahmajyoti. It also comes in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Who is the Natha of that Loka? It's Lord Mahakal, who is one, you can say, expansion of Mahavishnu, who is expansion of Sri Krishna. So that way also we can understand. Does that help you? Okay. Well, we can interpret one more way. Kaivalya Bhakti Nath. So Kaivalya Bhakti is what? Kevala Bhakti. What is Kevala Bhakti? Uttama Bhakti. What is Uttama Bhakti? Nirguni Bhakti. What is Nirguni Bhakti? Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyavritam Anukulena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktir Uttama. So Uttama, Kevala, Nirguna. We have many words for that. So Kevala Nath could also mean one who gives Kevala Bhakti. Matlab Kaivalya, yeah. So Kaivalya is the Tadhita, it's like Kunti, Kaunteya. So maybe the Kevala, something related to Kunti becomes Kaunteya, something related to Dasharath becomes Dasharathi, maybe something related to Kevala becomes Kaivalya. That's Tadhit Pratyay, yeah. That's much I know, yeah. Does that help you? Thank you. Thank you for nice question. More questions and reflections or comments. Anything which stuck with you? Yes, Brihad Bhagavatamrit. Chapter. So I think it is. Actually, it comes both two places. In first volume, when Narada Muni goes to meet different personality, I think it is third chapter of the first volume, and it is Brahma is saying that it is his verse. No, but Brihad Bhagavatamrita is Sanatana Goswami. Oh, so good, very good question. I think we may have to look in Sanatana Goswami's Digdarshini Tika of Brihad Bhagavatamrita itself, because so he has written the Granth, he has provided a Tika, and in the Tika he gives references of other Puranas. I'm pretty sure he would have done it. I didn't look into the Tika, I don't remember, yeah, but I think it should be there. Yeah. Thank you. Any further questions, comments, reflections? Yes. Baki Vihari. No, well, in one sense they are same. It's Sri Krishna. This Baki Bihari, which we hear about, and if we look at his history, is Sri Haridas Swami's deities. Sri Haridas Swami is in Nimbark Sampradaya. Although later on the upasana, the worship became quite specialized to move away from Puranic Vaishnavism. Puranic Vaishnavism is Vaishnavism where we study about Itihasas, Puranas, Bhagavatams. For them, Swami Haridas Thakur's realized Vani, like his padas, they became soul and soul, which is fine. I mean, Swami Haridas was Lalita Sakhi. So he, in 1535, around that time, was sitting in Nidhuvan. Some of you may have learned Nidhuvan. And he would just meditate there. And one of his disciple also nephew also, Vithal Vipul, he asked him, Kidhar niharyo hai? Whom are you seeing? Then he says, go inside that kunja, bring that deity. That's how this Jugala deity came. मायरी सहज जोड़ी प्रगट भई जो रंग की गौर श्याम घन दामिनी जैसे. It's said in Braj. Ghan damini. Ghan means cloud, damini means lightning. So like there is cloud and lightning, like that there is Krishna and Radha. So sahaj jodi pragata bhai. That's why in the Jugal Roop, Baki Bihari, we see one Roop Swarupa only externally. Yeah, so that's Sri Haridas Swami. Hare Krishna. That Baki Bihari, I don't know. I read in Gaudiya literatures. I was also curious. Maybe somewhere in Bengal. Yeah. Eka Chakra? I don't know if anybody knows here. Yeah. Thank you. Good research question. More thoughts? Yes. some of, some of them, yeah, some may not. Oh, actually, that will take another class. That verse is glossed in different way. Dhiya bhinnam, dhiya bhinnam. Right? Shivasya Shri Vishnoho Gudanamadi Sakalam Dhiya Bhinnam Yaha Pashet Sa Hari Nama Hitakaraha. That's the second offense. So Dhiya Bhinnam and Dhiya Abhinnam. One who considers indifferent and one who considers different. So what is the meaning of one who considers different? One who considers indifferent is offensive. That's what we generally translate it, right? So what does indifferent means here? Independent. But Sanatan, other Goswamis also there is a mention in other literatures, Bhinnam also. One who considers Shiva as completely independent. Like nothing to do with Vishnu. So few glosses are here. One who considers Shiva to be completely independent is offensive. One who considers Shiva to be totally indifferent is also offensive. Why? Because there is a Brahma Samhita verse. Which is that verse? Shiram yatha dadhi vikara vishesha yogat sanjayate nahi tatha pritaghasti hetoho yasambhutam samupaiti karyat govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. So Shiva is an interesting tattva, that there is an indifference also and there is a difference also. He is different in the sense that he is dependent on Sri Krishna, and indifference in the sense that of this Shira Dadhi Vikar. And like Vishnu also, the Sadashiv lies beyond the material nature. Actually, this class will become long, but Shiva has 4 or 5 different entities. Shiva of Sadashiv Loka, which lies beyond the material world. Shiva as a Nirakar Roop, which people worship as Shivoham, Shivoham. Have you heard that? Like Soham, Soham, Shivoham, Shivoham. Those who want to merge into impersonal effulgence of Shiva, right? That is the Nirakar form of Shiva. So first form, Nirakar form of Shiva. Second form of Shiva is the Sadashiva, who is that Shiram Yatha Dadhi Vikari Yoga. He is indifferent also, different also. And then there is a Shiva and Parvati of the material world, the generating principles. And finally there is Rudra, the destroyer. But for devotees, there is one aspect of Shiva which we highlight most. In all these, he is Bhaktavatar. He harnesses our devotion towards Sri Krishna. So while we know all these tattvas, by the way, he is not Vishnu tattva, he is not Jiva tattva also. He is different, higher than Brahma, because Jiva becomes Brahma. In fact, in 4th canto it is written that if you perfect your Vaishnava dharma for 100 lifetimes, you will become Brahma, and after that you may not become me, approach my dham. So Jiva will not become Shiva. So Shiva tattva is different, not Vishnu tattva, but there is some sense of indifference, because like the milk and curd. But devotees, we understand all of this, but the highlighting principle for us is that Shivji is a devotee of Krishna. He enhances our devotion, and in Vrindavan we worship Shiv in one form, which is very dear to the Brajvasis. That is Gopishwar Mahadev. In that, he is not only like any normal bhakti giver, right? But bhakti direct to Braj. Not even to Braj, to Raslila. So these are the 5 different forms of Shiva. So these tattvas are actually quite complicated. And I hope in this limited discussion some sense we gave that Dhiya Bhinnam is glossed in 2 different ways. And in fact, Sanatan Goswami Brihad Bhagavatamrita, he's a fan of Lord Shiva. You know, Chakleshwar Mahadev, Shivji likes association with Sanatan Goswami, right? So when Sanatan Goswami was leaving, Shivji was asking, why are you leaving? He said, Machhar bahut kaat rahe hain. So Lord Shiva says, I'll tell the demigod of Machhar to not bother you. So that's why if we see Brihad Bhagavatamrita commentary, as far as I know, he glosses as Dhiya Bhinnam Yah Pashet. One who considered Lord Shiva as different from Vishnu is aparadhi. So then we can encapsulate all these together and create this understanding of Shiva Tattva. That makes sense. Thank you. Yes, Prabhu. You want to add something to it? You? Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu, for Hare Krishna. Thank you for nicely covering the first 4 verses of Sad-Goswami Astakam, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, when you started about the identities of the Goswamis, and you also talked about how they were introduced in Chaitanya Charitamrita, then there is also a description of how they remove the obstacles. So, just tying back to what when Gauranga Prabhu conducted this seminar on Sad-Goswamis, in his last session, one of his concluding words was something, I'm just paraphrasing what he said, is whenever he is in times of difficulties or challenging situations, he just sincerely prayed to Sad-Goswamis and the obstacle is removed. So I was just wondering, Prabhu, like, where are the I was just trying to see, Chaitanya Charitamrita is talking about Hari Raya Namah, there is a references. So where is this, is there any pastimes where they have removed obstacles for the devotees, and how this is established? I was just trying to get the root of that.
Well, the biggest obstacle in theological sense is removing the avidya. Main contribution of Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, all these Goswamis, that they have separated the strands of karma and jnana from bhakti very clearly. Earlier, we never had such clear separation. Karma, it was mixed, but they clearly separated out, especially Rupa Goswami, Anya Bhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadhya Navritam, very clearly establishing that bhakti is a very unique path, and one must not have tinges of both jnana and karma in it. And I think that stands beyond anything. Because it's only through bhakti that we said true potential can be reached. What is that true potential? Relationship with Krishna. And look at Rupa Goswami, what did he do? He just, you can say, use the word appropriated Bharata Muni's dramaturgy, Natya Shastra into his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So now anybody who has to write on Bhakti Shastra must quote Rupa Goswami. Even in academic circles, if you haven't quoted Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, you won't get marks. It won't be passed only. So I think that in theological sense, that's there. What we can speak about Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur and Shamanand Pandit, they were also sent by Jiva Goswami, and they delivered Manipur, Bengal and Odisha. And now look at us. And Prabhupada said, right, that's the same ISKCON is a branch of that Rupanuga tree. So in that sense we can understand, well, they were there, many things were happening. One story comes about Sanatan Goswami, that one person, I think, goes to Shivji, and Shivji says that you should go to Sanatan Goswami. He has a gem, isn't it? And then what happened? He was not attached to gem. Gem was lying in a kachre ka dibba. Then he figured out he might be having some much more costlier gem, and this person was transformed. Raja Man Singh was transformed by Raghunath Bhatta Goswami's getting initiated by him. And then what did Raja Man Singh do? 1576, he took a vow that I'll build a magnificent temple if I win against Maharana Pratap. But who gave them this intelligence? It was Rupa Goswami who was worshipping Govinda Dev, the purity of Rupa Goswami. And then he comes and builds Govind Dev, which even now the tradition is going forward. So, Goswamis did show such pap, tap, nikrinta, nau, tanu, bhritam at that time, and through stately people actually. The Kachwa dynasty, later on Jai Singh II, right, who was called Savai Jai Singh, was he was at the time Baldev Vidyabhushan Vishwanath Chakri Thakur, but his ancestors, the whole line was actually affected. Raja Todarmal was affected. It is said, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami's disciple. He translated Bhagavatam into Persian. He translated Bhagavatam into Persian. Ramayan was done in 1584, also in Persian. So Bhagavatam and these were all taken to that route, right? To the Persian route and disseminated and things like that. So lot of things were happening at that time. Yeah. Veer Hamveer, he got influenced. I mean, the whole Van Vishnupur became like a Vaishnava state. In fact, it was written that, it's kind of funny, in that estate, if you won't chant and follow Ekadashi or whatever, you won't be punished. You would say, visa over. Literally out of the state. Kind of strong, but fine. They had to create some, at least one Vaishnava state at that time. Pratap Rudra, powerful people getting affected, so on and so forth. Does that help, Prabhu? Yeah. Thoughts, comments? Okay. So I think we'll end here, 9:15. Maybe Kirtan we'll do tomorrow. Yeah. Till that time, maybe my vocal cords will be a little bit better. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sad-Goswami Vrind ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. As you know, Harivamsa Prabhu is not new to us. He was with us in Seattle for a couple of, little over the year at UW Seattle. He's not only a very good student, he's also a researcher and scholar now. And he studied in IIT and Stanford and achieved so many things at a very young age academically. And he worked for TIF, a very well-known institution in India. Despite all these things, he actually took up Krishna consciousness very seriously and decided to take up full-time at the age of 35 and went back to Vrindavan. And he is doing there all his meditations and all his research, whatever is helping in advancing Srila Prabhupada's movement, is actually sharing with us. And he's going around different places and sharing all the things which he's actually learning and observing so that we all can benefit. So we really appreciate Prabhu for this mission which Srila Prabhupada has given us. And because of you, people like you, the movement will continue in much better way. So let's say it loudly. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And Prabhu is also interested in finding ways, in innovative ways, how to bring this Krishna consciousness in stories form, like a fictional stories form, actually connect to. So his first book, right? Is that Horizon? So that's there in the welcome desk, there at the entrance. So please take up and read it, and it's introduce you to the concepts very nicely. So that first book, we hope he will bring many such books which will make it interesting, so that people actually, in a fictional way also, they can actually understand what Krishna consciousness is about and become serious about it. Hare Krishna.